Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Welcome to another conversation, connecting with conversations in the Quran. So we are looking at Sulaiman alayhi salams, and I took a bit of time. We did what the conversation with the ant was Namal. So the story is that I'm going to refer to is from Surah Namal. So we had it in Surah Namal, the Wadul Namal, the people, the ants, and what they had to say, and how Sulaiman could hear this story, understand them. Then it went on to him looking for his hudhud. Where is he? Why is he absent? And he comes back and he has this information. So the lesson there was about information gathering. Whoever we have, you don't go around spying, but this is at army level, at military level, at a government level. Whenever new things are out, our governments, our people, our scholars, whoever we take lead from within a Muslim fold, they need to be informed. We need to provide them with the information. Look, this is happening with AI, or this is happening there, or this is what's happening about all these LGBT thing, kind of thing. La hawla wa la quwwata, astaghfirullah. But many things, and you know, the beauty in our deen is a lot of rich stuff is not even mentioned. But you just need to know that there's that, and we need to know how to counter that. So anyway, so the hudhud was able to give him, and we know shirk is a big thing. So the fact that they were worshipping the sun, Sulaiman alayhi salam being the prophet and the king, so it was his duty, his main purpose in life was about bringing people to Tawheed. So this is what he's now sending it to her. So he sends her, when he brings his intelligence, he says, okay, now you take the letter, so we'll know also both as whether you're telling the truth, otherwise we're going to throw the letter. Let's see what happens there. So he follows him through on what the hudhud information he brought. He said he's going to send a letter. So the letter for me there, in the abruptness that I talked, that he said immediately that it is concise, is also a sign of authority. When you're in a position of authority, you don't sort of go wishy-washy, hello, how are you, where are you? You know, on all these calls, they first ask, how are you? Look, let's just get to the point. You don't know me, I don't know you. I just need to know what's in my account, what's this is my number, this is my ID number, whatever. So get to the point. Get to the point. So conciseness is, don't see it as abruptness, which is the way I kind of like, Ya Allah, why is he speaking? So, you know, just get to it. No, hello, how do you do? But that's, again, how in conversations you need to know how to be when. We as females are told not to be so soft in your conversation with an, you know, they may get the wrong view. So be alert and strict. That's my extrapolation from that lesson. Here what it does say is that the conciseness is a sign of authority, and the critical message is best whenever it's clear and focused. What is the critical message? Invitation to Islam. Invitation to Islam of when he starts with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in ayah 30, and then he goes on to say that don't be arrogant, but come to in submission to Islam. So the beauty there too is when he starts immediately is that it's pride and arrogance that often is the thing that prevents rulers and people of high and mighty, the upper echelons of society, from accepting the truth. From the time of Nuh alayhi salam, Saleh alayhi salam, Hud, it was always, you know, with Saleh alayhi salam, they said, we had such high hopes for you, but if you're going to be with the what they considered the riffraff, not that they were the Mu'min, so they were actually the best people. But then how can we sit there? It also happened with the Quraysh. You know, if your followers are all who had nothing to lose. So in essence, it's whenever there's an agenda, whenever you have something to lose, it's hard for you to come to Deen. Okay, and yet on the flip side is that if you win the leader of a group, like at one of the Sahabis, it was just one person becoming Muslim, then his tribe became Muslim. Subhanallah. So these are things to notice and know of. It doesn't mean that you don't work with your workers and have them become Muslim and invite them, but it's your character and your behavior that should invite them to the Deen. So here he says, but he says in a bullet point presentation like it was, is get to the point, don't waffle, and avoid flattery, and it was that I said, you know, about with each messenger, it was the top brass that had difficulty in coming to the message. Then it says, Muslimin, and all of you then come to me, submit with me, and come to the true, none of you, and be Muslimin. And that, and Atuni come to you as Muslims, that's what I'm inviting you to. And it was in the plural. It wasn't just for her that he's bullying her or think of any of that. No, we need to get it right, that when we're looking at these conversations of the Quran, see the message. Look at it to enough. If it doesn't resonate to the way we talk, because we waste so much time talking, is no, get to the point. And it was an invitation to her and her people. So, you win the leader, the public follows. So it's brief, but it's impactful. It's not rude. It's not about you submit to me, but I am a Muslim, you submit with me to Islam. That's the beauty. Then he goes on to, in 32 to 37 is her beautiful conversation with her people. She says, so you advise me, I only take common decisions with mashwara. This is in 32. And they said, well, we have strength and we can fight them and we can do that. So do what, you command us and we'll follow. So she says, oh, but kings, when they enter a country, despoil it and make the noblest of them the meanest, thus do they behave. And there's another beautiful quote in Urdu when they say, how they flip things around with all these wars and taking away the leaders. Not that the leaders were necessarily good, but frequently what you get is even worse. What you get is the criminal factor. What you get with the president is everybody gets exonerated. Everybody, all his followers who committed crimes are suddenly given free way to get away with things. So you see this right now in the current affairs of the biggest presidential elections and here and there, what goes on. So this is what she says. She says, kings, when they enter a country, they spoil it. She's talking about a different situation, but we can see it, what goes on at different levels here, and bring it home to yourself, this message. But she says, so she said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send him a message and see what he answers. So she's using diplomacy. He's given me this message. I'm going to send him a message. Let's see where he stands, what leg he has to stand. So there, in 35 to 37, the righteous Sulaiman alayhi salam, what does he say when the embassy, they came to Solomon? He said, are you trying to give me abundance of wealth? Allah has given me much more, much better, much more. So rejoice in your own gifts. So what's the take home there? It is that he is not swayed by material wealth. And what do we know in all elections? Who funds it? Who does it? Now you have to pay them back. You have to have them on your platform, in your parliament, in your whatever position of a higher authority. And so what is it? And what is it? Why is it that the laws are there that if anybody in a position of authority in government, they receive gifts, they have to declare them, unless it's like maybe tuppence worth or whatever. But you have to, and many people do get caught out that they received gifts and they did. At every level, even in your own workplace, that I'll give you this, so then you give me this. It's scratch my back, scratch your back, whatever those stories are. So but you remain focused on your mission, which is what Sulaiman alayhi salam did, and you get that from ayah 37 to 35 to 37. So he says, go back to them, be sure we'll come with them, and we will, we will humble them, and so on. So that's his kind of threat, telling them that, we've got power. Don't think you can just win us over with gifts. So that is there to look at it of what it is that goes on today, take home, that, pumping money into election campaigns. Then I love this passage also, it's 38. Now he says to his people, he says, "O chiefs, which of you can bring me her throne?" Because we talked about the throne. Hudud said what a beautiful throne he had, and then he continued to say, "But Arshul Azim but Allah's Arsh is the one who owns the best of thrones." So now he's saying to his people, "Can you bring me her throne before she comes to me?" Because now obviously he's sent a message. No, we're either going to come to you, you come to us. So before she comes to me in submission. So Ifrit, a jinn, says, "I will bring it to you before your meeting is over." And then, but then says one, I love this, قَالَ الَّذِينَ إِنْدَهُ إِلْمٌ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ, the one who had ilm of the kitab from Allah's, he says, أَنَا آتِيكَ بِهِ قَبْلَ أَنْ يَرْتَدَّ إِلَيْكَ طَرْفَةَ عَيْنٍ طَرْفُكَ. So I will bring it to you, said the guy who with ilm of the book, in a blink of an eye, before you even blink. And so it was. So we've done this in our tafsirs elsewhere, so I'm not talking about the ifrit, or about the jinn, or about this guy, but how, and it was right there. So but just to bring in there, it's the difference between somebody with power, ifrit, as against one who has knowledge. And so regarding the throne, so the transport came here. Now the beauty is when she finally comes and they ask her, it's placed before him, and again he says a beautiful dua, Rabbi, this is by my grace of Haza min fadli Rabbi. This is from the fadl of my Rabb. And anybody who's grateful is for themselves, but if anybody who isn't, truly my husband, my Lord doesn't need, he's free from all needs. Ghani, and this came up before also with Surah Luqman when he was talking to his son. And then he says, so, okay, transform her throne out of recognition and let's see if she will be guided to the truth. The beauty of all this is when she comes and they ask her, Arshuki, is this your throne? And her beautiful reply, قالت كأنه هو. It is just like it. It is just like it, or something else, which it is as if it is. It is as if it is. So that it's not like it's a replacement, if it's a different one, but her beauty is, she just says it shows her intelligence and humility and a power of discernment. So that for me is a take-home lesson. No, that's not my cup. You send Tupperware to your neighbor in Ramadan, food and everything. It comes. No, that's not mine. It was another one. This and that, and you can be arguing all you like, and do if you need to, but have the discernment ability. So so I just want to catch how she says it, but it's beautiful, like it is as if it is, and that's all to understand. So what are we getting from here? So the Hopi report, which we did his conversation, then her diplomatic and strategic response to his replies, her journey to meet him, culminating in her accepting of Islam. So here is where it is, and the beauty of her is showing as a leader, she too, is how perceptions can be deceived. So let's just check it out. Then the thing when she was brought to the palace and she arrived, and the lofty palace, and she thought it was a lake, so she tucked up her skirt a little bit, and he said, no, it's just glass, it's not water. So that. And I used to always wonder, why is that so significant as to report that she thought it was water and it wasn't. And the next minute she says, oh, but this is a palace paved with smooth with slabs of glass. She says, Rabbana. So what does she say? Rabbi inni zalamtu nafsi wa aslamtu ma'a Sulaymana lillahi rabbil alameen. That was like a trigger for her to recognize the falseness of it's not water, it's a glass on top of it. Is how can she be blinded into thinking the sun is a God and when there is a real God? So that is so deep for me that I'm still kind of processing it, in that how a situation on the ground in your life triggers in you something to strengthen your iman, to bring her to Islam. Okay, so the fact of lifting her garment reflects her humility, naturally responds to an unfamiliar situation, and this paves the way for spiritual transformation. So this represents that our knowledge is limited. If I can't recognize that whether it's water, whether it's glass, so my knowledge is limited regarding not worshipping the sun, but worshipping the true Lord. So this is the beauty of subtleness in life that goes on. Whatever we see, whatever we witness, accidents, the plane falling, somebody surviving, he was reading. Whatever is going around in our life, what are the take-home message instantly we can do to for us as Muslims to strengthen our iman? For the one who isn't, let that be a wake-up call for him. So these are the kind of beautiful things that we have. And so So this is where we have these beautiful moments where you understand, and you can help push Sulaiman alayhi salam's also beauty of being able to show her that he nudged her into a deeper understanding of Allah and His Rasul. So it's just so when we that's how it culminates. So when she comes, and the fact that she had her throne change, and she said, it's just as if it is. It is as if it is. She recognized it. So she says, I submit with Sulaiman alayhi. So she recognizes that he's not just a king, but a prophet of Allah, and she aligns herself. So, but the beauty of all these things is that it's taking away pride and arrogance. They were both leaders, but there was a level of humility there. And because pride and arrogance are barriers, here for her, the Queen of Sheba, she is how one can move away from ignorance and to come to the truth. And, her behavior is reflective, and while when she comes to the throne, her submission is not explicit, but she acknowledges something extraordinary has just happened. But she hasn't verbalized her faith. This is when she sees her throne. Okay, but when she comes into the full submission to Allah occurs to her when she enters the palace, and she thought it was a body of water, and she realizes. So that amazement, or those recognitions, for me, we need to look in our lives of when do we have those light bulb moments that really transport us, change us at a base level. Because many things happen. Oh yes, thank you Allah, thank you, you made me pass my metric, or you made this happen, or that. It is for a little while. Then when I go to university and I'm struggling and I'm not getting into where I did, and I'm like back to zero. So those kind of things do make impact. And inshallah, let all these lessons be there to bring us, strengthen our tawheed, our iman, and all that sort of thing. So with that, I'd like to end up, and I pray it's been beneficial to us listening to these conversations of the Quran, in the Quran, of people, that there are so many things to take home. So subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun al mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.